This is Vincent of Voidrium, and me and Joe Austin from Tunnels of Set will be seeing you at the Tampa Morgue after this track from Corpus Christi.
Cooper, Too Close for Comfort.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Saturday, February 8th, the Bay Care Sound. The shock rocker returns.
Welcome to my nightmare, 'cause I'm Ed.
Buy tickets at thebaycaresound.com. A Ruth Eckerd Hall experience. Alice Cooper, live.
What's up? This is Tony, and you're listening to the Tampa Morgue Season 2, episode number 76. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host from his Tampa Bay studio, Mr. Ed Webb. What is up, Ed?
Mr. Anderson, what is up, brother?
Not much, man. Cold as shit, but it's February, and that's the way it goes. But glad to be here, man. Me and you have a really busy week coming up. We start today, and pretty much we're recording throughout the whole week.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's either feast or famine with us, man.
Yeah, it's at episode 76. I mean, we've been busting them out. And I'll say, so, this week we have Jeff Mantis coming on, obviously from Venom Inc. We have Brian coming on from Satan and Blitzkrieg next week. Tonight we have some guests too. We have Vincent Lepore from Voidrium, and we have Joe Austin from Tunnels of Set. So we'll talk to those guys probably in the next half an hour. I think we're going to have Vince on first, and Joe will come on afterwards. They're going to talk about a festival that's coming up, so we'll get them on. But Ed, how you been doing, man? Everything going good over there in Tampa?
No, it's it's hot again.
And there you
I'm
go.
I'm the bitch that doesn't cry about the cold, man. I like it cold, because I know it doesn't last, and it's not an Arctic cold like you deal with. So.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I go to the gym in the morning at 5 a.m. in shorts and a shirt, and people probably go, why? Well, they're all fucking parked up. And I'm like,
well, it was crazy because everyone, you know how it is in Florida. Like everyone was like, oh, I can't. Everyone always bitches because there's no winter. Like there's no winter. And then when it was some not happy people, man.
Yeah. But no, it's like, I think today it's going to be close to 80, which is insane for February. You know what I mean? Anywhere in the world. It's just, but. No, it's all good. I'm just fucking around.
We're -2 today, so there you go. So that's but
yeah.
Hey, it's we're here. So Ed, we have, like I said, man, we got a busy week. So we're gonna do today. We'll hang out for a while. Do what we usually do some news, do some releases. I actually wanted to mention to you because I forgot to mention it last week when you were over at the Museum of Metal over in Tampa, because I saw me and you were talking off the record too. And I saw that Ronnie announced it too. You're now part of Blood Messiah.
I am. I'm me and Sam Molina, and we're looking for a lead guitarist. The person who was going to do it dropped out. So, but yeah, I'm learning the stuff. I'm going to play bass and sing, which I hope that doesn't backfire because I can't play bass. So. Just I'm gonna do that every time, man. So it doesn't matter. I know. But yeah, no. I talked to Ronnie. It was months ago, right before I think he went to do one of the Malevolent Creation tours. And originally we were talking about vocals, and then to make it easier, I feel more comfortable playing bass and singing. I always have, and since he needs both, it makes sense. If you haven't heard it, I will tell you, Ronnie is a master musician. He literally can play drums. He can play guitar. I don't know if he sings. I haven't heard that, but as far as he wrote the whole, he writes his whole record, kind of like Lee Harrison does. Lee, if he wanted to, could literally play guitar, bass, and drums on a record. He could probably sing it too if he wanted to, but Ronnie's just that guy. I think people who are drummers, it's easier for them to learn guitar than it is the opposite, because I've tried to play drums and I am an absolute klutz. It's just my brain doesn't operate like that, but I can write guitar riffs like there's no tomorrow. But drums, it's a different animal because you have to use your brain to work all your extremities when you play. So I don't know, but yeah.
Are you guys going to be playing you're going to be learning the old songs too? Like, 'cause I know they had 2 releases, Cryptic Perversions, which was 2017, and then Denounce Your God from 2021. So how much material are you learning off of that?
As of right now, I've got 7 songs that I'm working on between the 2 records, or maybe 8. but we're just starting because Sam's getting with Ronnie and working out that. And then as I was getting all my shit taken care of, with finishing the monstrosity stuff and all my personal shit and getting over bronchitis and all that crap, I just started learning the stuff, and it's pretty good, man. I mean, it's brutal, and I haven't played like that in a while. Like monstrosity, I don't play an instrument, so it doesn't captivate me in that aspect because I don't get to feel the playing aspect. But as far as this stuff, it's catchy, it's brutal, and yeah, like I said, Ronnie's if you know Ronnie, you know he's a good dude. That's the other reason, because I don't know how many people know or don't know, but Ronnie started his death metal career with myself and Damien Heftel and Dave Sawyer and Destined to Ruin, and that's where he met Gene, and the rest is
He
history.
was in he was playing before that when what the hell was the name of that band he was in?
Oh,
Oh,
and I know it too.
I'm gonna think of it because I'm sure it's gonna pop in my brain. Let me see here. Yeah,
because he got to play
man.
the.
It was the first band I remember. Catalysis.
No, I don't think it was Catalysis. That was the other guy. And maybe it was. I don't know. God, it's been so long.
I mean, he's been with obviously, you got Brutality, Angel Corpse. He's done a bunch of stuff, and Ronnie, what's cool about Ronnie. We've talked about this prior on the show. We're like on the side. We've done some stuff for Ronnie. Like we did a couple cover songs, and Ronnie went on tour with Malevolent. And right before that, me and him had been talking about he was going to record drums on these tracks. So he went away for like, I don't know, maybe for like a couple months to go tour and stuff. Got back and got me the tracks. Didn't have to chase him down for him. Didn't have to ask him more. He just did it. Like he got. I mean,
it's amazing to look at his just since he played with Destined to Ruin. I mean, Angel Corpse. It was Catalysis. You're correct. Insanity.
Amon.
A Perdition Temple. Amon. He was a road crew for Immolation, Malevolent Creation, Brutality. I mean, that's borderline Ed stuff right there.
Lightness now he's doing with Jesse Jolly.
Yeah. So he's definitely, and that we know that as that works as a drummer, that's one of the most hardest instruments and people to find to fill a band. Yeah. That's why if you ever look, drummers are in 20 bands.
Yep.
And guitarists, it seems like at least then. Now we were trying to freaking spitball a guitar player, like a lead player that could play the stuff and play leads. You know what I mean? Like when I say leads, I mean like, you know what I mean? Come in, step in, having to, guys that are like, one thing about Damien that we always liked is he was like me. He could learn by ear.
Yeah. And
he was fast and he could play. And that's the kind of guy you look for, but it seems like very few people, like when I look at the scene, I don't know these people anymore. Like all the people that I knew are gone.
You know who I think of right away, but I just think that, if you guys are like, I think of Jim Ross, of course, because Jim Ross is like one of my favorite guitar players in Florida. We obviously do a band with Jim Doomsala, and Jim does the band whore stuff, which Jim told me something really cool the other day. Some more people he got to play on that band tour stuff. And I'm afraid I don't want to say it because I don't know if it's public or not. So I won't, but he got a killer player on that band tour album. When it's going to come out, I don't know, but he's got that coming. But Jim Ross, to me, that's a guy who would be awesome in that lineup with you guys. But if you're looking for someone to do a lot of shows and stuff like that, I don't know if if Jim's going to be down for all that. But that's who I think of right away when you talk about guitar players. And there's a few of them obviously in the area, but I always think that Jim Ross is just.
If Jim lived in Tampa, it would probably be done. I think the Jacksonville, Tampa is the problem. It's just, you got to have somebody like, even Sam lives in Fort Myers or around that area, but he has a girlfriend here in Tampa. So he's up here all the time. So it's not an issue for him to come up and, and plus he does the monstrosity too. So, yeah, it's
He was
cool,
at the
man.
Generichrist show, wasn't he?
He was.
Sam was there, yeah, when we played Swarmfest. Like, it was like, man, it's already, a couple months ago. Time flies. So you got that coming out. You got working with Blood Messiah, obviously the new Monstrosity. Me and we're doing a record, Crooked Casket. We have that we're working on trying to finish up. That whatever happens with Generichrist next. There's a lot of stuff going on for you, but I wanted to mention Blood Messiah last week, but I had totally forgot. So, I had to put that in there. And like, again, we're looking forward to some more. When you get that that monstrosity information, let us know, man. We're,
For
definitely
sure.
looking forward to hearing some of that, the new stuff.
For sure.
And we actually opened up the show with Corpus Christi from Portugal, played the song Become the Wolf from the Delusion album that came out in 2017 on Folter Records out of Germany. Corpus Christi, they formed band 98 by Nocturnus Horrendus. A great band. I mean, I remember when we were doing the Rivet Rag back in the day, interviewed him. Actually, I would love to get Nocturnus on the show because I have kept in touch with him through the years. But he's been in a bunch of, shit. He's been in Coldness, Morte Incandescente, Son of Cain, Storm Legion, Genocide Commando, A Tree of Signs. Man, he's been in a bunch of stuff. But that was Corpus Christi that we opened up the show with. Definitely recommend checking them out. Just a great band. Tormented Belief, but it came out in 2003. That's a great record. The last one they did was in 2022, The Bitter End of Old. But yeah, can't go wrong with Corpus Christi. So that's what we opened up the show with. And like we said, we got Vince from Voidrium coming on in a little bit, and then we'll have Joe from Tunnels of Set coming on. I've known Joe for many years, man, from back he used to be in Dry Spell. So, we'll talk about some of that with him. But Vince will be on there. There's going to be a festival they'll be doing in the 22nd of February. So we'll talk about that. And Ed, I guess, we'll start moving here. So first of all, I guess some of the stuff, I was just looking at some stuff today. So Candlemass, will reunite with Messiah for some gigs.
I saw that.
Yeah. So they're going to be doing the Rock Hard Festival in Greece, September 2nd through the 13th. In Athens, but Messiah is awesome. So that was cool to see. I saw King Diamonds they're working on 10 tracks for the next record, because it's been forever. Everyone's waiting for that King Diamond record. I mean, I saw that they were, because the last album came out, 2007, the Give Me Your Soul, Please record. So they have 10 tracks they're working on. Creator announced some. Creator? What did they announce? Some festival dates. I saw 2 today. June 5th, Sweden Rock. June 7th. Let me see here. Metal Fest Pilsen in Czech. That's a few of them I saw. And they're also doing 3 headlining shows in Germany with Warbringer and Rotting Christ. I guess there'll be like special shows with special set lists and stuff like that. A band that you toured with, which we actually played one of those shows. Rivers of Nile will release a new record. It'll be their band's 5th full length. May 30th, it'll be coming out on Metal Blade. You toured with them with Obituary, Massacre, Rivers. We played, because Death to All, because Generichrist played with you guys at the Orpheum back in, was that 2014?
14.
Wow.
Yep. December 2014.
2014.
The last Massacre show ever.
Yeah, what was that? What was that tour like for you? I mean, obviously now with Rivers, what was your memories of that band?
I mean, I got along great with him. The bass player was a little egotistical at first, but then, we became cool. Once you get to know people, they change, how they are. But I will tell you this, those guys were touring in a beat up van throughout the United States. And I heard their shit broke down several times and they still made it to every show. So I give anybody who can deal with that while I'm living it up on a fucking tour bus, you know what I mean? Like that are grinding. Cause I did the grind when we did that Diabolic tour with Cannibal Corpse. We were in that, we had our own RV that broke down several times and finished that tour in a U-Haul. So trust me, I know how to grind. And when you're grinding to do that tour and now look at them, they're headlining. That's what it's about, man. That's how, I think bands today aren't made like they were then. if you think about the old bands, like they're not death metal, but I think about talking to the singer from Drowning Pool and him telling me how they were playing gigs out of, touring in a van, like doing like ridiculous amount of shows a year, not making any money and grinding and playing to nobody. I mean, when I saw Mudvayne, I saw him at a place called Planet Nine Ball, and there was 50 people there. And Nonpoint played, who are huge now, and all these bands that played. Mudvayne is playing the fucking amphitheater. They're headlining the amphitheater. So it shows you 50 people, you're fucking playing the amphitheater. If you grind it out hard enough and you put out the product and it's good, that's how it works. Very few people get that. I'm coming out with a group and I should be playing the amphitheater opening for whoever. That's just, I mean, unless you know somebody who knows somebody and you've got the Epstein list on them, you're not getting that. You know what I mean? You have to pay your dues.
It's
And
funny,
that band paid its dues for sure.
You mentioned that, and we have, like we mentioned earlier in the show, we have Jeff Mantis from Venom coming on this week. And Jeff, now you look at Venom, which is it's kind of like they basically went from rehearsal to they just blew up. It was, I mean, what happened to that band, which we'll hear about this week when we talk to them, they didn't slum it out in the clubs. It's, I've heard Jeff say that before. Like they went from like basically playing, I think they played like 3 or 4 shows. And then before they were playing in front of thousands of people in Belgium. So, but it's very rare that happens, right? Most of the time you got to pay your dues. I mean, but
unless you're somebody getting into a big band, and how many times has that happened?
Yeah.
And I mean an existing band. Like when we did Massacre, that band was dead for years. You know what I mean? It had not been doing anything, and it wasn't the lineup that was the last lineup except for Terry. So yeah, you don't get, sometimes the name holds weight, but if you're a brand new band like Rivers of Nile were, they, like I saw them after our tour, they did another tour like a couple months later, opening for somebody else. So they just grind, you know what I mean? But like I said, if you do it enough and you can make enough money to survive, you'll be successful if you put in the work. I shouldn't say that because Generic Christ always gets shit on, and we put in the work. We put in the work for a long time. I don't get it, dude. I really don't, because I could see if we sucked, but every show we play, and this is not being egotistical. This is not, we're the greatest. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is go look at our live show, go listen to the music we put out. And we have a following, and it's crazy, right?
Well, I think the biggest thing is now is you have so many bands out now, that there's just when we were kids, you didn't have like 5 billion bands. Every day there's, I look at like the releases, there's so many releases that come out every week now. It's hard to keep up. There's so many versions of, like you said, now that you have all these bands who break off, like you'll have like the Venom Inc. You'll have the, how many bands do you know with AD after it, or the Accused AD. You have so many of these. So there's so many versions of bands now that there's just I don't want to say watered down, but it is. I mean, there's just so much out there. It's very overwhelming.
Well, and I think a lot of that too, because you're talking about the AD stuff and the ink. It's because, like, I know for Nocturnus, Mike refused, not Mike Browning, Mike Davis refused to let, I think he keeps renewing the patent or the whatever you call it, so that they can't use it. So that's why they had to use AD, because people are being like, just like the Accused, they're being spiteful. They don't want nothing to do with it. It's not like there's a Nocturnus and Mike Davis has his own band. He don't want somebody else to own it. And to me, that's, if you don't want it, let it go. You
With
know
the
what I mean?
accused, how could you not have like Blaine? To me, that's the voice of the accused. If you don't
True.
have Blaine, I just can't like. It's just that's me personally. We've had Blaine on this show, obviously. So we're, we grew up listening to the accused and stuff. So, but there's a
Right,
lot of that.
but if what's his name, the original
Tommy.
guitar player, Tommy doesn't want to do it anymore. He doesn't have an accused. Let it go, dude. Stop. Because there's people out there that still want to hear the music, and you should be happy that people want to hear your music. You wrote it. And I would think if there's any type of backside, whatever, you're going to get paid. Who gives a fuck?
Well, with the
dude?
accused, Tommy still runs the accused, so you'd have both. You have that whole double thing going on, So it's, I mean, as we know, there's so many bands out now, and I tell you the truth, like doing this podcast helps me keep up with it a little bit because, I not that I force myself to like try to pay attention more to newer bands coming out, but people send us stuff, people send us music, or they send us updates. So now you're not that you're forced to, but you see much more than you used to see. So now, I mean, there's a shitload of bands though. Like it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's, like I said, when we were kids, man, you had like, it just felt like, not that there was only a dozen bands, but it kind of felt like that compared to now. It was much easier to keep up with. Even the tape trading back then, a lot of the same tapes were, it was a nice circuit. But like now, there's just so many fucking bands. But also, I wanted, of course, we have to mention, which me and you talked about this yesterday a little bit. Black Sabbath, doing what? So what is, so I'm trying to, the date is going to be, I want to say it's July. Let me check here. July 5th, was it? So I know tickets go on sale February 14th, but July 5th, I believe it is. So Black Sabbath, Butler, Tony, Ozzy, Bill, you have the great line, just such a great lineup there. But Ed, they're doing, so Ozzy's doing 2 sets though. So is this, I just can't, I mean, is it going to happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
And how much are those fucking tickets going to be?
Yeah, that's the key right there, is the ticket price. And then you had mentioned something that I caught too, is at the bottom of the list
All
are
those
a
solo
bunch
artists.
of solo people, and it's obvious that they're not playing their own sets. They're going to be doing Ozzy and Black Sabbath tunes, because Ozzy couldn't even stand up at the Hall of Fame. I mean, he
What do
looked
you have
he looked wrecked, man. He looked wrecked.
Jakey Lee, Zach's going to be there. Zach Wild, KK Downing's going to be there. Slash, I saw Duff McKagan. I'm trying to think who else. I saw a big list, but like you said, it's kind of like Rudy. Like I don't know if I said Rudy Sarzo already, but
Yeah,
there's a lot.
I think
a lot
it's
of
going to
guys
be
on that list.
I think it's going to be a who's who of coming out and playing. Now, maybe some of those musicians are going to play in Ozzy's band, because obviously they're not playing in Black Sabbath. That's obviously Geezer and Tommy. I don't know if they still have the dude from Faith No More drumming.
No, it's going to be Geezer, Tony, Bill, and
Bill Ward.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Yeah,
I didn't think he could keep up anymore, but good for him.
Tony, Ozzy, Bill, and Terry.
All right, good. That'll be. I mean, if you're a fan and you
Geezer,
want to spend
Terry, we're thinking of our boy Terry Butler.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and spend $6,000 on a ticket.
That's what I want to know. I'm picturing
Slayer's playing. I mean, I saw the lineup and I was just like, holy
Metallica,
shit, dude.
Alice in Chains. Let's make a guess. What do you think the ticket price? I'm going to say
$500
or something.
Yep, $500 a ticket.
Yeah, I'm going to say 4 something is what I would expect. I thought about for a second, because I'm not too far from the UK plane wise, but you
know damn well, unless you're a fucking stud, you're not getting to the front.
Yeah, you're not getting.
Or you were the first in the gate, and you're willing to not even. You're going to bring a piss bottle and a fucking Depends, a couple pairs of Depends, because you're not leaving the front if you're up there. You know what I mean? Because you're never getting
to get
back.
A ticket. Maybe, I don't know the way the ticket system works these days. But
pretty much scalpers, man.
But I would love to see Black Sabbath, especially with that lineup. But we'll see. And before we get to Vince here, let me see. I have a few more things, man. Actually, so I don't know. Maybe we'll hold releases for in between. But if I will say, let me see here. I saw there are some deaths someone sent me. So I'll announce these. Man, just the list is always going. Luther Antony,
Welcome
the German
to the funeral pyre.
part of the show. Yeah, welcome
I'll
to the
just
funeral
start
part
out.
of the show.
We'll make an announcement now because we seem to be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah.
The pallbearer of bad news.
Well, here you go. I got some for you here. Let me see here. Luther Antony, 65 years old, German guitarist, also owner of Antony Records, LCP Productions, played in the heavy metal band Trance. Let me see here. Dave Jordan, the producer, 75. I saw this morning, actually, too.
I did see that one.
He's done. That guy's done so much. I mean, I was looking at the records that he's done. Alice in Chains, Facelift, Dirt. He did Frank Zappa. He's worked with him. Armored Saint, Sacred Reich, Spinal Tap, The Rolling Stones, Jane's Addiction. He did the Ritual album. He also did Nothing Shocking. He worked with the Meat Puppets, Fishbone, Social D, the self-titled 90 record. Talking Heads. He's worked with, a shitload of great records, and he passed away at the age of 75. Brian Ritchie from Carpathian Funeral from Illinois passed away. He was 52, guitar player. A band that, I still have the vinyl of, man, that I picked up many, many years ago from a flea market in New Jersey. Rico McGuire passed away, 62 years old.
Wow.
He was in Kill Slug, Upside Down Cross. I don't know if you remember them, Ed.
Yeah.
But from on the 91 record, I still have that. Rico passed away. I think it was yesterday, actually. Actually, 3 members of that band have passed away now. You have Lifeless Larry passed away 2021. Bass player Cheese passed away in 2008. And then obviously Rico now. Do you know who the drummer of that band was on that record in 91?
No.
Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr. was the drummer on that record, yeah.
Dinosaur Jr. That's another name I haven't heard in.
Yeah, Jay Mascis was on that. We'll actually play one of their tracks tonight before we get Vince on. But Upside Down Cross, Rico passed away, 62 years old. And I saw that. He was also on Kill Slug. Let me see here. Alan L. Scott, guitar player for Beneath Oblivion from Ohio, Carry On Lord, Opium Doom Cult, Throne of Carry On. Guitar player, did some bass in some of those bands too. I think he was murdered, actually. It's 50 years old, Alan L. Scott. And let me see here. Beer Reeves. Let me see here. From Pill Crusher, Hod, Rancid Vat, Satan's Goat, passed away also. I think that was actually like 3 weeks ago. He passed away, or 2 weeks ago. But someone's, I want to thank everybody who sends us these. People have been sending us releases, and when people they're sending us the musicians who are passing away, a list of that. So it's been, thanks to anybody who sends that stuff in. We do appreciate it. And whoever won those Alice Cooper tickets, I don't want to say your name because I don't know if you want it said on the air, but you and Ed will be maybe sitting next to each other tonight at the Cooper show.
Maybe.
Ed,
so I saw what the tickets were. They're great tickets. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and who are you taking, Ed? Have you figured it out tonight?
Bryce is going.
Bryce's first Alice Cooper show, right?
I don't know why my wife is because next week I get to go to the Baycare two weeks in a row. I get to go for a amazing show tonight, and then it's an amazing show. I mean, I don't give a shit. Willie Nelson crushes, dude.
That'll be cool. Yeah.
I saw him not too long ago. My wife loves him. She loved the show, and the tickets were very reasonable for where we're sitting, and close to where I got tickets for this show. And her friends go, and it's like a thing, you know what I mean? Because I took her to see a band called the Avett Brothers, and if you want to talk about, like, I grew up listening to, my dad listened to heavy metal, he listened to Journey, Asia, Toto, you know what I mean, all that stuff. And then he also listened to, I don't know if it would be considered country, but Larry Gatlin, the Oak Ridge Boys, that kind of shit where they harmonized and sang. And that's what these guys are. And they fucking kill. I mean, like, when I saw them open for Willie Nelson, I was generally impressed. And then when I saw them, they headlined, it was just, they were the only ones that played. and they were fantastic, man. They were great. My wife had a great time. Everybody, when somebody puts on a show, it doesn't have to be heavy metal. You know what I mean? If it's a good show, it's a good show. I'm a musician. I like people who are fucking great musicians. And when the guy's playing a banjo, acoustic guitar, the piano, he plays all these instruments and he crushes all of them. How could you not respect that? You know what I mean? So, but Willie Nelson is a different breed of human. He's 90 something years old. And when you hear him sing, he doesn't babble. You know what I mean? He's still coherent for 90 something years old. It's fucking
I
great.
think if I
man.
could pick two people to smoke a joint with, it would
Yeah,
probably
he'd be one of them.
Nelson. You have to say, even though I'm not a big rap guy at all, you'd have to say Snoop
Snoop
Dogg. I mean,
Dogg.
who's going to have
Yeah.
better, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
I agree with you.
know.
But I don't think Willie Nelson has to keep touring. I think he could live out his days happily.
Probably doesn't want
And-
to stop, man. What the fuck are you going to do? Just sit there and just rot?
Yeah, well, I think, like I even heard like Dana White said he'll never quit the UFC. He's going to go till the day his heart quits. If you enjoy doing something, why stop, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you like Ozzy, no offense, but obviously he physically, who would have thought? We thought that this guy was invincible, man. But that
I'm hoping though, dude, he pulls this off because you know what, man, it would be awesome to see it end like that. It should be.
I agree.
It should be Geezer Butler, Tony, Ozzy, and Bill should be the last time they take the stage together. And I really hope that this happens because that's the way it should go.
There's a lot of like I saw Andreas from Sepultura said we should put the past behind us, and he hopes that the brothers Max and Igor come and play the last show with them as the original lineup. And that would be awesome. I think Max should. I really do, because when it's gone, right? Max is going to continue doing Cavalera and whatever else he's doing, Soulfly, whatever he does, he's going to keep going, right? He's going to play Sepultura songs, but why not just say, you know what? We don't live forever. And there is absolutely no reason we can't do this and end this on a killer note. It's not a tour, it's one show. Just do it. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure.
Unfortunately for all of us, you never know when any of our names are going to be read on the Tampa Morgue. I mean, it's just how it goes, I think about that sometimes when I got this list, this guy sends me this list of the musicians, like I said, who have passed. And, of course, when I'm doing that, I'm like, man, you start thinking, you never know. But, I don't know.
Time waits for nobody.
Yeah. But some people are lifers. And that's there's certain guys that even we've had on the show who I really feel are lifers. We had Tony Dolan on. I feel like that is a lifer. Like that's a dude who does it, and I can't picture him stopping. Lemmy was the same way. Me and you saw one of his last shows when they had to basically walk him up on stage in Orlando.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So it's
he.
It's in the blood.
When Airhead said it, who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God? And they said trick question because Lemmy is God. He went out a fucking rock star. He's a legend, dude. He went out because he played to the last fucking second. Like, aside from dying on stage, you know what I mean?
Went out, yeah.
He played till the fucking end, man, and you cannot, have anything but respect for that, man.
Lemmy's great. And I guess you know what? Well, let's do so I'm going to do the releases here. Couple shows, and we'll get Vince on here because he's going to promote a show. So I figure we'll line it up with the shows. We'll do the shows right before he hops on. So I'm going to announce, and I don't know if you have any releases. I have a list, of course, of some releases that came out either this week or they're coming out next week. Basically what I thought wouldn't come out before the next show that we're doing. Because like I said, we'll be doing Friday night. The Jeff Mandis episode should be going for everybody. So I'll start rolling through these, and then if you have anything you throw it in. Black 44 from Finland, stoner metal. They have an album coming out called Bloodlines on the label Inverse Records out of Finland. So follow up to the band's 2015 full length, No Blanks. Band called Claw with a K. That is from Switzerland. Thrash metal band. They have Gods and Creatures coming out. Label El Porto Records out of Germany. Follow up to the 2019 Light Crusher record. Corpsing out of the UK, death metal band. EP coming out titled Viewing the Invincible, formed in 2002. So the third full length. They put out a demo, a live album, and this will be their second EP. It'll be titled The Viewing the Invincible. Berlioz out of France, black metal band. Nourishing the Disaster to Come is the name of their new record. It's coming out on My Kingdom Music out of Italy to follow up to the band's 2022 EDP record. That comes out February 7th. Lone Shark out of Barcelona, Spain's heavy metal band. No Sins to Confess is the name of their new record. Label RPM Roar Records out of Greece. Band formed in 2017. Debut full length. They put out an EP in 2018 titled The Warning Sessions. Features members of Crimson Storm, Alkalizer, Raptor, and The Opposed. That comes out on February 14th. Open Casket out of Arkansas. It's a death metal band. Trails of Failure is the name of the record. Barbaric Brutality is the label out of Sacramento. February 7th, Rotten Age from Poland, black metal band Funeral March is the name of their record. Label Werewolf Promotions. The band's fourth full length, also put out a demo in 2011. That'll come out February 12th. A band that we've had on here, we had John Gallagher on here. Raven from the UK has a new EP coming out called Can't Take Away the Fire. 8 tracks, 3 of them are live. You got live versions of Don't Need Your Money, Architect of Fear, and The Power on there. That comes on February 14th. We'll have to see about getting John back on in the near future. Anybody who hasn't heard that episode, we had John Gallagher for Raven. Really cool episode. Fumes from Mexico, black metal band. Skeletal Wings Threshold is the name of their new record on Personal Records out of Mexico. Fumes features members of Demonized, Open Casket, and Infesticide. Formed in 2022. Did put out an EP in 2022 titled Stellar Murders Upwards. I got a couple more here for you then. And if you have anything, Extinguished out of Finland, death metal band. EP, Foul Stench of Adoration. Let me see here. So the label's out of Tampa. It says Calgary Records out of Tampa. I'm not familiar with that. Members of Hammer of Cain, Sickness, Deathmind, and Piss Horse. 2022 demo they put out. Vomitous Manifestations. But this EP will come out on February 7th. Let me see here. 2 more. Rotten Terror out of Poland, death grind band. The Patterns of Cruel Authority. Formed in 2022, the band. It's a one-man band. He's also in a band called Mass Suicide out of Poland. It has 10 tracks on it. And a band that I do dig, Hangman's Chair from France. Doom band. Have a new album coming out called Sadiction. Label Nuclear Blast. It's their 6th full-length follow-up to 2022's Loner. That'll come out on February 14th. And that's what I have for releases that everybody sent me. Ed, do you have anything on there?
I do. There's a couple that you missed a good one, man. It actually came out.
No surprise.
Last week. Pentagram.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that last episode. Yeah,
did we?
That in the last episode.
Because it came out. It looked like it came out after. They're Poison the Well. I don't know if you're into them. They put out an EP.
I saw them like 20 years ago in Orlando at like the House of Blues. I want to say
they put on a good show. I will say that. I haven't heard that they were doing records. I didn't even know they were a band anymore. But it's good to see that. All That Remains, Anti-Fragile. They put out a record this week, and it looks. I mean, I've only heard 2 songs off of it. It sounds pretty killer. There's a band called, I don't know if they call it Sour or Sour, SAOR. I listened to them. They sound kind of black metal-y. Mr. Ruins. Obscura, who's on tour. They're playing Tampa very soon. I
saw that too, actually.
I'm trying to think of who I saw they were playing with. We'll announce that show at the end, I think, because I have a list of shows, but they're playing the Orpheum, and A Sonication is the name of the record. Rivers of Nile put out a couple songs. It's just an EP, so I'm assuming they have a new record coming out soon.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about earlier. Yeah, that comes out. So it doesn't come out till May, I believe. But
yeah, Arch Enemy put out its EP called Paper Tiger. If you like Arch Enemy, I don't know if you've ever heard the band Ginger. but it's a chick singer.
Yeah, they're from Ukraine, actually.
They
Yeah.
are, and they're. I'll tell you what, they blew up. That chick can sing, man.
They
She
played
got
at
a
Janus
pretty
Landing, like I'd say 2 years ago. I want to say, or it's probably like 4 years ago, maybe even longer than that. But I know they played at
Terry
Janus.
toured with them. They were on that Sepultura tour in Europe.
Yeah.
So you know when you are over Obituary, you did something right. You know what I mean? Because they were before Sepultura. So Duel, they got a record coming out, and then Dream Theater. I don't know. We have Dream Theater fans, but I'll tell you what, John Petrucci, they're they're a great band. I mean, they're not death metal, obviously, but this isn't a death metal only show. So I dig Dream Theater.
I can
I'm glad
honestly say that if you play Dream Theater for me, now I know who Dream Theater is, of course. You know, Mike Portnoy, I know the whole
Yeah.
But I can honestly say I don't think I've ever I've heard them before, but I don't think I've ever sat down and listened to a record, or I think I tried to, but I know they're huge. I mean, they're they have a big following.
Well, Mike Portnoy, this is his first record coming back because they fired him.
He was jamming at Circle Studios, if you remember, years ago.
Yeah. Yep. And he was also, he filled in on drums for Avenged Sevenfold when their drummer died. And he's done some cool shit. But yeah, I mean, he's back and they put out this record. And honestly, a couple of the songs are so fucking heavy. I didn't know it was Dream Theater when I was listening to it. I had to look at my phone. I'm like, that does, aside from the singer, because, obviously can fucking sing. So, yeah, it's good. It's a pretty good record, man. I'm gonna run it through a couple times. You know, I have to run it through a couple times to really let it sink. But
Yeah.
from what I heard, it's great. And then this other band that literally popped up, I'm unsure. I don't like it because Sirius plays them too much on the liquid metal. They ruin it. But Spirit Box, I don't know if you've heard that
Never heard
name
them
before.
No.
Yep. No Loss, No Love. They put out like a 4 or 5 song EP. They opened for Korn when we saw
That's
Korn
why I didn't hear
and
him.
Gojira.
That's why I didn't hear him.
Well, I went to see Gojira, man, because if you don't like Gojira,
I did
punch
see
yourself in the
Gojira
face.
too. We talked about
They're
that the other
fucking
day. I
great,
saw
man.
them at the Amele years ago.
Yeah, with Lamb of God and Metallica.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
imagine being on that show. I mean, fuck. But
That was still a long time ago. If you think about how these fucking years fly,
that was
man,
10 years ago.
Yeah,
That was
that
well
a
over
long
10
time
years ago, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I think Ed, let's do since we have Vince coming out, we're going to be talking about this festival that's coming up with him. I'm going to start doing the releases here. If you said you have not releases, but I only have a few upcoming shows, and you have a few too. You said, right? So I'm going to mention, and you may have actually. Do you have the tier one with you?
I don't. You can announce that one.
Cool. Okay, so I have a few only. I saw. Let me see here. And of course, they're not in order like usual. Let me see here. February 15th at the Brass Mug, Animosity, The World I See, Dead by Dawn, Cadaver Dolls. That's February 15th. $10 to get in there. And the North American tour for Battle Ballots, February 16th at the Orpheum. Doors at 7, $25 tickets. Tier, Withered Earth, Ether Realm. That's at the Orpheum, 14802 North Nebraska Avenue. Let me see here. Heracleon. I'm sure I'm saying that name wrong. I know they're doing some dates with X-Order 2 coming up, but they're playing tonight at the which is Saturday, February 8th tonight at the Brass Mug. It's them, Void, Midnight Vice, and Syndicate. It's a $10 show. Doors at 7. That's their Curse Over Florida tour. And then we have so this is like two different. They're actually two different shows. I think one band's only different on this. Vile Productions presents Everglade Atrocities, Saturday, February 21st at the American Legion Post 92, with Malignancy, MRSA, Implosive Disgorgence, Burrito Bow, and I believe that one has Beast Plague on it. 211 North 21st Avenue, Hollywood, Florida. That's at. And that is February 21st. February 22nd, which is Saturday, Malignancy, MRSA, Insectile from Orlando, Implosive Disgorgence, Burrito Bow, bow, and that's going to be at the Brass Mug. That's $20 tickets at the door, 17 in advance, 7 p.m. doors. And that is Vile Productions. So they're doing so. The 21st will be in Hollywood, Florida. Beast Plague will be on that with MRSA, I guess, and Malignancy. And I guess so that's like, I think most of the bands are pretty much the same on both shows. I think there's like one difference on that. And Ed, what do you have for shows? 'Cause I think that's all I really have for shows right now.
Yeah, the one I was talking about, I was thinking something else. The Obscura, I just saw they're doing a tour with Atheist.
I saw this,
dude,
Conduit,
fucking
right?
Atheist, Origin, Decrepit Birth. I mean, that's a fucking tour. Yeah, they're playing the Conduit. They're not playing Tampa, which
may change. Who knows? I
weird.
think when is that? Is that April?
Yes, April, May. That's that tour. The other one that I saw that I know you like these guys a lot. I think you do. Necro Goblin.
I've never seen them.
No?
No.
I could have sworn you've talked about them before.
Yeah, I've never seen them.
But they're playing the Orpheum on May 31st. I saw
did see
was
Pete
announced.
Owen announce that, so I did see that show get announced.
Yeah. And of course, the other day was the Decapitated show, but I didn't hear nothing about it.
I saw some video actually. I did see some video from that show. And so what? I guess is that all the shows you have?
Yeah, I mean everything else is pretty much isn't well. I guess the other one is, but it's not till April. It's Whitechapel is playing the Orpheum.
There you go. And everybody who listens, we always thank you. We're going to get Vince on here from Voidrium in a moment and talk about the festival that's coming up February 22nd. Also, this will be going on, so we'll get him on and talk about this. We're going to have Joe from Tunnels of Set coming on tonight also. They'll be performing at the same show. So, Ed, I'm going to play. So we talked about Upside Down Cross earlier from Boston. They were formed out of, I believe they were formed out of when Killslug basically fell apart, ended. And they've had, they had Seth actually in the band at one time from Adel Cunt and Postmortem. But we're going to play from the 91 record. We're going to play Battalion of Rats. That came out on Tang Records in 91. This lineup was Larry Lifeless on Vokes, Scott Vangel on guitar, Cheese on bass, Rico, who just passed away this week, on guitar, and Jay Masick, obviously, on drums. And we're going to play that, and obviously, it's like I said, it's crazy, man, because 3 of those guys are gone already. Only 2 more left. But we're going to play some Upside Down Cross, and then we're going to get Vince on from Voidrium. And then the show will keep on going. So anybody who listens to us, like I said, we always appreciate you coming. There's plenty of episodes we'll talk about that at the end of the show too. I mean, this is our 76th episode. We've had everybody from Snowy Shaw to Chris Reifert, King Fally, Dave Austin from Nasty Savage. We've had Lord Aramon from Dark Funeral. We've had David Howard Thornton, who played Art the Clown on the show. Vincent Crowley from Acheron. Anybody else you could throw out there really fast before I switch over to the song? We've had so many guys on. I'm starting to Knox Colby, obviously, from Enforced, just on. Kyle Thomas from X Hoarder, Jesse Jolly from Malevolent Creation, Promethean Horde, Blightness, Count Gordeval, the old Creature Feature host. And we had a shitload of bands on. Morbid Saint. We've had the guys from Morbid Saint on here. We've had
Pat from Hellwitch.
Pat from Hellwitch was one of the first episodes we ever did.
Looking back,
Blood
man,
Serpent
look how far
from
we
Vietnam. Came. Yeah, we've had a lot of guys. Like I said, we have Jeff Mantis from Venom coming on, and then Brian from Satan and Blitzkrieg coming on the next 2 weeks. So we had a lot of stuff going on. And but right now we're going to play Upside Down Cross. We're going to play Battalion of Rats, and then we're going to get Vince from Voidrium on here, talk to him. After we talk to him, we'll get Joe from Tunnels of Set on here. And we'll be back after this song on the Tampa Morgue with Vince from Voidrium. This is Upside Down Cross, Battalion of Rats from the 91 album that came out on Tang Records, self-titled Upside Down Cross. We'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this track.
Fighting the
And that was Upside Down Cross from Massachusetts with Battalion of Rats off the self-titled album that came out in 1991 off of Tang Records. And so we're joined with Vince from Voidrium tonight. We're going to talk about the Bay of Fire Fest. That's going to be taking place Saturday, February 22nd, 2025 at Deviant Libation. Do I have that correct?
Yes, you do.
Nice. And that's 3800 North Nebraska Avenue. And man, thanks for hanging out with us on the Morgue today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, man. Always happy to talk about Tampa black metal and Florida black metal as a whole.
Yeah, man, we talked to you. I think it was like a month or two ago. I was talking to you about, and you were, we were talking about you coming on the show. And it's always, I figured, hey, let's bring you on closer to the event because, it's people's memory. You know how it goes these days. People forget shit in like a week or two. So I think it's a perfect time for you to bring you on, man. And, we all have something in common. We're all Jersey guys. You're born in Edison, correct?
Yep, born and raised in Edison, and then spent most of my time hanging out in Newark.
Oh, yeah. My grandfather had a shop up there, old Newark. And your dad was actually in 80s bands?
My stepfather, yeah.
Nice. Were you around, do you remember, like, some of the shit you were hearing back when you were a kid, like they were playing around the house and stuff like that?
Yeah, so believe it or not, he actually was the drummer of Explorer for a little bit.
Oh.
Old school Jersey band. He did a few shows with Zach Wild's old band Cyrus. Mostly he played like glam metal and progressive metal. And growing up in the household, I also heard a lot of Iron Maiden. I heard some Slayer, some Possessed. And that kind of kickstarted me down the journey I went down and eventually found more extreme black and death metal.
And your first record was Iron Maiden, Brave New World. Is that correct?
Yep. That was the first one I ever bought.
Shows you his age, right, Ed? Because, that's like, 2000 that came out? So,
Yep.
I mean,
that was like when Bruce Dickinson came back. He was, that was like his first record back, I think.
Yeah, the second I heard that track, The Wicker Man, the first track on that record, I was hooked immediately.
Nice. And when did you first pick up a guitar?
I picked up a guitar when I was 13 years old, actually. And what inspired me to pick up a guitar was I already liked music, but then I heard Trey Azagthoth and Morbid Angel because I heard Altars of Madness for the first time, and I'm like, I need to start doing this.
Nice. And you play what? You play a Jackson and a BC? BC Rich?
Yeah. I got a Jackson Warrior. I got a BC Rich V that I've had since 2007. And those are the two main guitars I have. I also got a Dean ML and an Epiphone Les Paul.
Nice. Are you self-taught?
I did have lessons, actually. Self-taught vocalist, though.
Okay. And you got lessons from anybody in your family, or was it just some guy you went to?
It was someone actually who had a studio in Colonia, actually. He had a place called Rhythm and Moves, and the dude was actually a huge metal fan. Like, he was willing to teach me all like the death and black metal stuff, which made me even happier because I don't know, I've always had a hard time connecting with people who are like outside of this genre, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. And being a Jersey guy too, so you were obviously like vintage vinyl. Were you someone who hit that place up?
Every weekend, man. And I would walk there from my house sometimes. Like from Edison, I'd walk all the way to Vintage Vinyl, man. And I got to say, ever since when they closed down after I moved out of Jersey,
Same year, right?
2021. Yeah, I can't believe it's gone, man. I thought that was gonna be around forever. One of the things I was intrigued about the place, I don't know if you remember, they had a black metal wall on one of the shelves, and that's how I actually found black metal, was because I see this wall of black and white album covers. I'm like, what the hell is this? This looks fucking cool. And then I picked up Gorgoroth's Destroyer along with Judas Iscariot's Gaze Upon Heaven in Flames.
Yeah, he actually retired, right? The owner, Rob Roth. I think he retired, and it was 2021. They were open for 42 years.
Yeah,
we've talked about him on this show. That Tampa, it's Aces Records, and if you're from Jersey, I think Vintage Vinyl played a big part in everybody's heart. Ed, you were at Vintage Vinyl before, haven't you, Ben?
I have been. Yep. Yes, I have.
And your first band was Gormatory out of Edison.
Yeah, that was the first band I had, and it was, needless to say, I made that band when I was in high school, actually. I just really wanted to do it bad. So at 15 years old, I just started recording demos with a drummer who I have zero connection with at this point in time. But ended up doing that, self-released the first album. And then, of course, high school kids being high school kids, we essentially were too stupid to get anything done right. So it ended.
Yeah, you guys put out 5 demos, and you guys put out a full length 2011 Zombie Slaughterfest. What venues were you guys playing over in Jersey at that time period?
Well, Oh man, so there actually was a venue in Edison because we're high school kids. It worked out perfectly. It was a venue, big one was a place called the Backstage that was in the south side of Edison. It was actually right by Stewart's, which was convenient for after the show ended. Um, we also were playing Dingbats. That was where I played my first ever show in Clifton. Did a few VFW halls with that band. Um, I forgot the names of the places we played in New York City and Philadelphia, and of course, the legendary Champs in Trenton. We played a lot.
Nice. And you guys changed. So was that band when you guys ended, like you said, is that what changed over to Exinfernum?
Yeah, Exinfernum is Metal Archives has it wrong where they say we changed our name. It's actually was a brand new band. I just wanted to do death metal that was a little more darker actually than what Gormatory was doing. So I decided to form Exinfernum to fill that purpose. And I just wanted to go more in the anti-religion direction because that's just where my heart more so was than the gore and the horror stuff, which I love, but I was never feeling 100% writing that stuff.
You guys put out a full length, 2015, The Gutting of God, and then you guys put out something in 2019, the Sadist Temple, and an EP in 2021, and then you moved to Tampa in 2021.
Yeah, actually, I moved to Tampa in February 2021, and for that last EP, Spectral Decay, we got all the instrumentals done in New Jersey, and then I recorded my vocals in Tampa.
Nice. And when you got to Tampa, once you start looking for, you're looking for members for that band, right? At first.
Yeah, actually, I had wanted to start a black metal band for a very long time, but for the specific kind of black metal I wanted to do, it was very hard to find people. So I just kind of like, all right, so let me just put it off. Because I love to play music and I like to play music with other people. I'm not the kind of person that does very well solo. But so I'm like, all right, I'm in the death metal capital of the world. Let me find some people to play some death metal with down here. So after attending a couple shows at the Brass Mug, as well as just trying to meet some local folks, I finally found the right people. I found Joey, who ended up being on drums. I went through a few different bass players before I got Steven playing bass in Exinfernum. And after about a full year, I want to say, of us playing together, I finally told these guys I had been playing death metal nonstop since 2008. And I said, listen, guys, I want to do this project right here. I've had this band name in mind for many years, this theme in mind, and this type of black metal I want to play. If you guys are down, I'd love to do it with you guys. If you guys don't want to be a part of it, it's fine. I'll find some other people. And once I told them the concept and all that stuff, they were 200% down with it. And we started recording the first full length Insanus Deus and Bedator.
And you said that, so the guys you're talking about is Stephen Farrell, right? He was I think he just left Swamp Tooth. He was in that band.
Yep.
And Joey Harris,
Yes.
who was an ODD from Tampa, correct?
Yes.
Nice. So you guys formed that. Did you move to Tampa by yourself with your family, or was it just a solo move?
It was just me and my wife who came down. We got married on Halloween of 2020 and then moved down to Tampa in February 2021.
Nice. And where are you guys rehearsing at in Tampa when you first moved down there?
So when we first moved, we were actually rehearsing at Circle Studios, which we still rehearse at quite frequently. But
That's
we've also
where we
moved
always
to.
rehearse at, yeah.
Yeah, we've actually. I think we ran into each other a couple times over
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah, we spent many years in Circle with Joe Diaz. Was that where you guys still jamming at now, or did you guys move?
For the most part, we still use Circle, but occasionally we'll use some other places. Like we've done the Ice House before in Gulfport, um, and then like at one point we had a different drummer who we were using like a shed he had essentially, which he actually set up pretty well, but like the only problem was his constant smell of smoke everywhere. And look, nothing against smokers, but I cannot stand the smell of tobacco smoke indoors.
Yeah, no, totally, man. It's amazing that people used to smoke in restaurants. Like, and I remember, Ed, you probably remember this too. Like, there would be a smoking section and a non-smoking section, and they'd be right next to each other.
Yeah, that
But you
had
just
absolutely no.
remember
That's
those
an
days?
oxymoron.
Yeah, they were like right next to each other. There was like 3 feet between the smoking section and the smoking section. Um, but yeah, so you guys are jamming over there. And so, you mentioned black metal. Like, what are some of the bands you mentioned? Obviously, death metal wise, you mentioned, you got into Altars, right? From Morbid Angel, it was
Yes.
89 that came out. What else do you get in? What else like really started influencing you that started like taking over your musical interest?
Well, a big thing for me was also like if we're going in the black metal direction, there's three bands in particular I like to highlight. Gorgoroth was the first black metal band I ever heard. And then I also got into Rotting Christ and I got into Mortuary Drape. Bands
Yeah,
from
Mortuary Drape's great.
oh man, criminally underrated.
Yeah.
And I always one of the things I found interesting about black metal is how like, you know, obviously everyone knows about the first wave and the whole second wave with Norway and the church burnings, all the history behind that. But like at the same time, you had a whole nother wave going on in other parts of the world, especially Southern Europe, where they basically took the same influences of Bathory, Hellhammer, Venom, Merciful Fate, and they created their own thing with it essentially. That's still black metal, but it doesn't sound anything like what you heard coming out of Norway, Sweden, Finland, Germany. And I found that interesting. So I'm like, you know what? I want to start a black metal band that's focused on the history and mythology of ancient Rome and take influences by mixing together the Italian and Greek sounds. And when I tried to form this band with other people before, most of them said, yeah, I got no fucking interest in that. And like, they only wanted to do cold, Dark Throne ripoff number 1500.
No, yeah, and you actually studied, which we're going to get to that too. I have to mention, you mentioned Gorgoroth, who I definitely, I still think like Twilight of Idols is like one of my favorite records. But what's your favorite Gorgoroth album, or do you just have a? Because I know that you had a couple different singers with Pest and Gaul and all that. But what was your favorite time period of that band?
So it's funny, like my favorite Gorgoroth record of all time is actually the first one they did, Pentagram, because
Oh, it was
the
Yawn,
vocals
right?
Hat did on that were fucking inhuman.
Yeah, and
And
God, that's like '94, I want to say. It's a long.
93 or
It's
94.
yeah. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, because they went through. I think they had three different vocalists through history.
Four now
Or
actually.
now with Stefan is the guy's name now they have, I believe.
He did the last full length of them, which was at this point almost 10 years ago. But they have Host from Take doing singing with them live, who's been with them live since that last record.
Nice. And you mentioned, obviously what you mentioned the history thing, and you actually, so when you went to college, did you go to college in Jersey or were you going to college over in Florida?
Jersey, actually. I went to Middlesex County College.
Okay, I was gonna say, was there that and Thomas Edison, State University over there?
I did not go to Thomas Edison. I don't think there is. Is there a Thomas Edison State
I think there's
University
some.
over there?
Yeah, I want to say I know Edison Hall. I'd have to look. It's been a long time. I know Ed probably knows more than I know. He's actually originally from there, but I know the area from when I was a kid growing up. But you mentioned the whole Italian Greek black metal thing, right? That was the sound you were really trying. Was that from the beginning? You were trying to get that sound.
When it comes to black metal, yes, absolutely. That is the sound I wanted to go for a few reasons. Number one, I always found the sound interesting, and I love just the whole like atmosphere they went for with that, where you just kind of had that warmer tone compared to like the freezing tone, which I love the freezing tone too. I just don't feel like I could have done that tone justice because number one, one of the reasons I moved to Florida for a reason. I hate the fucking cold.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about that this morning, right, Ed, about the weather. How in Florida everyone's always wanting the cold weather. Then when it gets there, you notice that, right? From moving from Jersey, everyone's like, "Oh, I want fucking winter," and then when it gets there, they hate it.
Oh
Um,
man, it's when I first moved here, I'm sure you guys dealt with this too. One of the most annoying things I dealt with was a few like people who I tell them whatever, they're like, "You're so lucky, you got to deal with snow."
they always say that.
I'm like, let me tell you something. It's not like I lived in a fucking ski resort, okay?
Yeah.
You got to wake up, you got to shovel your
Black
fucking
ice.
driveway. Black ice. Oh, that's the worst part, man. Black ice, and then of course the plow plowing you back in after you just spent hours shoveling yourself out.
Yeah, I do not miss that. I'm in it now because I'm over in Eastern Europe and it's cold as shit here. But I know exactly what you're talking about because every time I would say I'm from Jersey, everyone would be like, "Oh man, you got to experience winter." I was like, "You can have it." Um, but you guys put out your first demo was Insanos Deus Impeditor.
Insanos
Probably
Deus Imperator. It was actually a full length.
nice. That's your first full length. So did you record that yourself though, right? You did all the production on that?
Yeah, actually, we were originally going to go with someone else, and then he bailed the last minute. Then me, just being the kind of cantankerous person I am, I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to teach myself how to do it. So I already had Reaper that I just used for demoing some stuff out, and then I just taught myself production as along the way. So ended up doing it ourselves in a period of a few months, and then put it out.
So you guys put out a 5-song demo after that, correct?
5 song EP. Yeah, we did Vulcanalia.
Which is a what? It's a festival, right? A Roman festival is the title.
Yeah, Roman Festival of
Okay.
Fire, celebrating the god Vulcan. I wanted to go with a Roman deity that gets talked about less, just to make it less obvious. I mean, sometimes it's more fun to go for some of the closer to obscure things.
And like you said, you're into the history thing, and you were that's what you were going to go to school for?
Yes, actually, originally I was going to go to school for history, and then I found out, and then literally I had my history professor just straight up told me, "Listen, you're going to get into a lot of debt, and you're never going to get a job. So find something else to do." And then I just ended up transferring to Lincoln Tech to do IT work, and well, I hated that, but ended up getting a job out of it.
Nice. And you guys are like you said, you have a now there's a you guys have a split on the way, right? Which we're actually before we let like when we let you go tonight, we're gonna play the song from the one of your new songs from the split. But you did a split with an Italian band.
Yes, actually, it was a band named Casus Belli out of Como, Italy. They reached out to us because they heard Vulcanalia, and they asked us if we'd be interested in doing a split with them. We're like, yeah, of course, man. I mean, you're another black metal band. You have a similar lyrical theme to us, and I think there's a lot of things we could definitely do with it. So we agreed to try to release it by come the time of Day of Fire, which is of course February 22nd. And we decided, okay, we'll make it 30 minutes in total. Some songs from us, some songs from them, and ended up being a perfectly smooth process.
Nice. And so you got that coming out, and I wanted to cover a little history with you, the band. So are you still doing the other project too, or is that just on hold right now?
Exinfernum is still active, but it's become more of the side project now. And part of the reason for that is my partner in that band, a guy named Alfredo, who still lives in New Brunswick, New Jersey. He's still living up there and trying to move down here himself. So once he moves out, I just don't feel right recording anything with that band or doing anything of that nature without him by my side. So once he gets down here, maybe Exinfernum was a little more. But at the same time, I'm having so much fun with Voidrium. I don't want to stop at all.
And you guys been keeping busy because you guys. Well, first of all, the current lineup is Joey Harris, right, on drums.
Yep,
Steve Farrell, am I saying it right?
Farrell.
On guitar,
Yep.
and Leah Adonis on bass, and then you obviously on guitar and vocals. So you guys have. I was looking at some of the stuff you guys done because I knew you were coming on here. And you guys played what Louisiana last year.
Hmm.
You guys played Newark. We're talking about Newark. You
Yep.
guys played New York, correct?
Yep.
Nice. So
Yeah.
how was that your guys? So your first show out of Florida as a band was what? Was that the Louisiana show?
Yeah, that was Louisiana in Metairie, which is right like inside of New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that was a fun time actually. I had never actually been to Louisiana before, so it was definitely a new cultural experience for me.
Nice. And where'd you guys play out in Newark?
We played at QXT's on Mulberry Street, right down the street from Prudential.
Oh, nice. There you go. Yes. Um, so you guys did that, and so obviously, and we also played. Me and Ed were talking to you before we signed on tonight. We actually played with you guys at Swarmfest in November, which has been a couple months now. Was that your guys? That was your first Swarmfest, right?
Yeah, that was our first Stormfest. I think it was when I moved down here. In 2021. I don't think Nick had a Stormfest going on,
Yeah, I
but
think he skipped a few years possibly because I know
yeah.
we did it in I want to say 2018, and then we did it again this year with you guys on that. I think you guys on a Saturday. Um, but yeah, Nick, man, he gets some killer bands. It's hard, right? Because how many shows do you see that have a shitload of bands on it? That's really like, there's a lot of festivals. We know this. There's a lot of festivals. There's a lot of shows with 20 bands on them and stuff like that. And it's hard to, you know, but to make them quality, and I got to give Goodyear credit, man. He made that event awesome.
Oh man, that's my favorite festival, and that's my favorite festival in Tampa. And no disrespect to any other guys who do it either, like Ed, so like Eric from Nihilist
Eric
Media,
Ron, yeah, we've had
and
him
I'll
on
say
here.
he does a great job himself actually at Tampa Death Fest. But like Stormfest was just a pure mix of like I mean this year Perdition Temple, you guys, fucking Nasty Savage, Pessimist. That was just an insane lineup to see at the Brass Mug, man.
Yeah, when Nick asked us, we hadn't done a show in probably like what since 2018, and when Nick asked us, I have to be honest, you're kind of like thinking, you're like, well, we've played Swarm Fest before. We know Nick makes it killer. How could you say no? It's a bunch of old friends hanging out, and that's exactly what it is. Swarm Fest is like a big party for 3 days, and I don't know, it's a blast, man. It was definitely cool. And you guys are also playing. I saw you guys are playing in Carolina, right, this year at a Terror Fest.
Yes, we're playing. Yes, we're playing with Deteriorate at the Carolina Terror Fest in Spartanburg.
Nice. You guys have opened for Narcotic Wasteland, which we've had Dallas on the show a few times. You guys open for Obituary, which I mean, fucking Obituary is awesome, great guys. You guys open for Doyle, and you guys open for OTEP. How was that opening up for OTEP? Because I mean, I know
Okay,
there's
So to get into that, first of all, the only reason I said yes to that is because as a Jersey guy, to open up for Misfit, a true
Yeah.
honor there. So
Makes
I
total
said
sense.
yes for Doyle. And it was funny because I know a lot of the stories about what it was like to play with OTEP. So I ended up asking Heather, like, so we've heard, I know the stories with OTEP. What's going on? And Heather from the Brass Mug ended up telling me, well, Doyle's camp is actually in charge of this whole run, so OTEP has no say in what happens with like any of this stuff. So we were allowed to sell merch during her set and all this other stuff. So ended up saying yes to it because of that. It was funny because we were told to show up at the venue at 5 p.m. for sound check. So all of us left work early because it was on a weekday. OTEP was late for her sound check, and her management kicked everyone out of the venue. And it was over 90 something degrees that day, very humid, and you have bands waiting outside to just bring their stuff in. And on top of that, her sound check went overtime so bad, doors were supposed to open already. And you have fans at this point waiting outside the Brass Mug in the sweltering heat.
Jesus. Yeah, we've heard stories like that on here, haven't we, Ed? We had King Fally on here telling us what it was, a 6 feet under that wouldn't let them in the venue when they were opening up for them. So it's happened, but OTEP doesn't surprise me so much because I've always heard horror stories. Like I don't know much about the band, but
a band I had some dealings with, End of the Rope, got shafted by OTEP at the what was the club over in Seminole?
Boomers?
Yeah, I mean,
that was probably pre-Vincent.
Was terrible. She's terrible. Yeah. I got no recourse. I'll tell her to her face she's terrible.
Oh, I'm so glad that she's done that. She's retiring now. I'm like, good fucking riddance. Anytime a new metal band is done, I'm happy.
And people don't realize everybody remembers this shit. How you're treated by, like, we always talk about that on this show too. Like, me and Ed have been around for a long time, Ed a little bit longer, but you never forget how you're treated by people.
Well, you know what? If you want to talk about how to be a class act as a female singer, go look at Angela Glasgow from Arch Enemy. That's how you treat people, because she went out on her own and then she turned it over to Alyssa, but she was like, no bad words from anybody about who she was and how she dealt with people. She was in a big band. OTEP isn't big. What is it? I mean, OTEP wasn't, big by what standards? You know what I mean? Maybe bigger than my band, but not big by any standards that you would have that type of freaking attitude. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's funny though, when Vincent says that story, I've heard these stories before from other people. I may have even heard Ed. I'm sure Ed's told me the Boomer story with them. Like, so it's not a surprise. It's not like it's not totally shocking.
Pretty much. I mean, I'll be honest. I was shocked that like she was even doing a co-headlining tour with someone like Doyle, and I'm like, something was telling me like, something tells me she probably her management begged to get on this because her other tours she's done have been absolute shit in terms of turnouts, and people just don't want, a lot of venues just don't want to deal with the bullshit. So she needed Doyle essentially for that.
How was Doyle?
Open. You can't, if you can't get, bands like you or like us, when we played Swarmfest, we sold a bunch of merchandise because we haven't been around in a while. So we're going to play a show for free, but then you tell us we can't even make a couple bucks selling our own stuff. Why would we want to play your show?
Exactly. Like, makes no
sense. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I would tell her to go fuck herself, and she would literally, there would be no opening bands until they played. That's how it would be.
I will say this, actually. There was one policy I did set regarding some merchandise for the for Bay of Fire, where we have a vendor coming in who actually printed tapes for Voidrium and another band on the Bill Sacker list. And just for the sake of throwing him some business, because he hasn't actually done live vending at a show before, I told him, listen, Voidrium and Sacrilegious will withdraw selling our tapes that were printed by you, so that way you could get more sales.
That's cool, though. That's understandable.
And that's just more so to not like, like the last thing you need is like, we're all friends. This is a brotherhood here. We don't need to like try to like compete with each other selling the same exact, like literal, the same exact piece of music on tape with each other.
There were no demands met. You did it on your own. When somebody like King Fally was told he couldn't fucking sell his merch a mile within the venue.
When they were playing with Morbid Angel, yep.
Bro, I would, even 6 feet under, remember, they had to leave the building. And in my opinion,
that was sound check. I think that was
that literally would be me putting my stuff back in my case and loading it in my car and telling you to fuck you and your show, and we'll see how many people actually show up. Because, you know, remember, they called King Fowley last minute begging him to save that show. And then you do that, it's like the disrespect. That's one thing I will not tolerate in any scene, is being disrespected, because we're not, what are we making? We're not making money. You know
Exactly.
I mean, come on, man. We do this because we like doing it, and we have fun, and we like hanging out with people. But man, you show up and get disrespected by 6 Feet Under or OTEP or even Morbid Angel. I mean, and I don't know where Morbid Angel came from, because I've been out with them twice, maybe. I know once for sure. And it was nothing but respect. Now, mind you, this was 2000, early 2000. So it's been 25 years, you know, that touring wears on you, and, you know, aging and your body going through craziness and Trey and whatever. But, yeah, disrespect. You don't have to do it. You don't have to.
Exactly. I mean, we're actually trying to keep ourselves like we're trying to keep stamina, because one of the things is like I'll be honest, I've never been the kind of guy who wants to be on tour for like months at a time every single year. So we try to book these weekend runs actually to like to keep them small and intimate, and that way hopefully possibly build up a little demand, because the whole touring model, especially with fuel prices now, along with travel costs, all that stuff has just gone way up. So we actually are able to save quite a bit of money by doing these weekend runs. We bring out some decent crowds for those weekends, because they know it's not like we'll be hitting another city within a close proximity, with the exception of New Jersey and New York. Because let's be honest, you're still going to get to completely different crowds for that.
Yeah.
But
yeah. No, and I think what you know, when you mentioned something a couple minutes ago that, and Ed, both of you guys mentioned it. Nobody's making tons of money, right? So you do it for the love of it. Like, look what you choose. You choose a topic with the history, you know, that it's, you know, most bands go with the Satan, fuck Jesus, you know, the whole fucking, that whole deal. You've kind of taken the opposite. You guys don't do, there's no corpse paint, right? Nothing.
no,
You guys are like stripped down in that aspect. And it's, you guys just chose to do what you wanted to do out of the love.
exactly. We want to have a little more of a stage show too. Like maybe like I have some ideas of like having some columns on stage, and maybe some lighting some incense that we use in Roman pagan rituals, and along with what I'd love to do is some statues, but that would be expensive and hell to haul. One of the reasons we don't do the corpse paint though, and no shade at anyone who does it, but I'm a time freak. I grew up in that environment in New Jersey where it's, you know, get your shit on,
Get on,
play,
get off.
and then get your shit off as fast as possible. And like, I cannot deal with the stress of like get the paint on and make sure it looks right, and then like I can't do it. So I'm like, you know what? I'll wear all black, little vest, jacket, boots, go on, crush it. I mean, hell, most of the Southern European black metal bands didn't really use corpse paint either, so it's actually pretty fitting.
And you guys played your first show. What was it? You guys played with Piss on Christ. What was it? Fucking 2023 at the Brass Mug?
Yes, it was a Piss on Christ, Sacrilus, and I think Announce the Apocalypse was on that bill too, but I can't remember for sure. It was actually Sacrilus's first show too, and it was a pretty good experience actually, because I was my first time in 9 years doing a show with a new band and brand new material, and it went pretty good actually. And then the next day we went down to Lake Worth to go play the Propaganda Bar.
Nice. And you guys, what's your favorite venue to play over in that area in Tampa and St. Pete?
In Tampa and St. Pete, definitely the Brass Mug.
Yeah, we all, you know, that's pretty much, you know, there's because now what is there? Pegasus is gone now. Crowbar's still standing over in Ybor, which I don't know if that's going to go on after the lease is up.
I think
the
they said they're
Orpheum,
not renewing.
that's what I believe. I think I read that too. The Orpheum, which I have never played the Orpheum, but from what I've seen on, it looks awesome, the new Orpheum.
Oh, it is.
Of course, Janus Landing, you know, and the Conduit, which we had Pete Owen on this show, you know, we've known Pete for fucking ever. And I think he's done a great job with the Conduit, man. We played it we played with Obituary there in 2018 when that bar, you remember the bar was in the middle of the venue, and just back then it was smoking. And I remember the first thing I asked Pete when he got that venue, I was like, did you get rid of the smoke? And he's like, yeah, it's no smoking.
I will say one of the best things he did when he bought the Haven and turned it into the Conduit was taking out that T-shaped bar, because I think, I have personal opinion, T-shaped bars make no sense in music venues because you're just cut down potential crowd size by having that. So I thought that was like a great innovation he put in there.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys have this festival coming up, which we'll definitely, so 10 bands, I'll have you announce the bands, 10 bands, all ages. Doors at 3 p.m., $15 advance, 18 at the door. Tell me if I'm wrong with any of this.
Correct.
And yeah, go ahead, man. Give us the spiel too, like the bands that are playing. Do you guys have a time slot for yourselves yet?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
All the time slots have been decided actually. So that will be put. The order you see it in on the event page, as well as everything else, is the order from headliner to opener. And it was actually a pretty interesting thing because, as you said, we have a lot of festivals in Tampa. You have Tampa Death Fest, you have FDMS who does Extreme Metal Fest, you have Storm Fest. And one thing I wanted to do is, like, once we started playing with Voidrium, even before that, you also had the Black Mass thing that was going on. It was a one-day thing thrown by the guys from Haunted.
We had him on from Burn at the Stake, Andy.
Yep, Andy Howe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had this idea because I'm like, you know what? There's not really a ton of like just full-on black metal fests in Tampa or anywhere, or not really much in America, honestly. Like I used to actually promote like regular shows up in New Jersey, Philly, and I also used to book shows at Lucky 13 in Brooklyn too, from a promoter standpoint, just because like sometimes I was not happy with the way some promoters would do things up north, so I just decided to throw my own, and it was a good time. It was a good time. So I decided, okay, so let me find let me find a little niche for myself and just focus solely on black metal for down here, and maybe I could just try to throw an all black metal fest. And the idea, the leading philosophy behind Bay of Fire was rule number one: if the word black is not in your genre, you do not belong on this bill. Yeah. Which, again, no disrespect to the history here with obviously everyone knows about the legendary Tampa death metal scene, but if it's not exactly a bad idea to just have solely one type of subgenre of metal and give something just for those fans for a day. And the hope is this is hopefully year one, where it's just going to be all black metal bands. If the turnout's good, then there will be a year two and hopefully extend into multi-days. Because at some point in time, what I want to do is keep expanding this fest every year to where we can have like an Inferno Festival of America right here in Tampa, Florida.
Nice. And do you want to run down the bands, or I know Promethean Horde's on it. Obviously, you guys. I don't know if you want to run down the list or not.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So we have Promethean Horde headlining the fest. Actually, Nick was gracious enough to say yes for the first fest I'm throwing. We also have Saturnine from Jacksonville playing their first show in a very long time. We have Pontifex out of Orlando playing. Great guys, great band. They also have a flute player on stage. We have us, of course, the ancient Roman black metal band. We have Clo from the east coast of Florida coming out. They just put out a new full length that's pretty good. Of course, our longtime brothers in Sacrilist are coming. You got Born coming out of Gainesville, who do almost a Cascadian style black metal sound, like Wolves in the Throne Room, etc., etc. Of course, you have Tunnels of Set, who you will be talking to later.
Yeah, we got Jay coming on.
We have a DSBM project with Nefarious Grime, who tends to go into multiple different genres, usually more so in the goth space, usually. But she actually was interested in doing a DSBM set for this when she found out about it, so she's looking forward to it.
You guys have any special like posters or shirts you guys are going to have at the event or anything like that?
As of right now, no. Like, as I wanted to I wanted to be budget conscious for this and just try to, because I'm not sure what the success of this one is going to be. So,
there's a question for you actually. So you're organizing this whole thing, right? You put this whole thing, so you got this thing going together. So do you go into it expecting? Because I remember, we had Nick on here for we've known Goodyear forever. We had Nick on here for a while, and we kind of joke around all the time. Like, do you go into it saying, okay, I expect to be in the red when I leave, and if I'm not in the red, it's a plus?
Pretty much, I try to go into everything with neutral expectations, honestly, because I'm the kind of person where if I go with negative expectations, I will be not motivated at all to do a good job.
So law of attraction.
If I go in with too high of expectations, then it's going to backfire on me. So I try to go through everything as neutral as possible. Like, here's what's realistic. Here's what I could do. Here's a plan for year one and a potential growth plan if this works out. And let's see what happens.
That's cool, man. Yeah, and I've actually never played the Libation. Have you played there before?
Yes, actually, Demon Libation. Actually, they came from the ashes of after the Born Free pub shut down last year, and it's a small place, but they've been getting a lot of traction with a lot of decent shows. And the owner's a good guy who is in desperate need of financial help, so coming to the show also helps support him.
Oh, definitely. And you guys have that going on, like we said. And also, you hit the Tampa Bay Metal Museum when it was in town?
I did not actually have the chance to do that weekend. Actually, it was I had a prior engagement that weekend, but I did see the pictures and it looked amazing.
Nice, man. So yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming on here and stuff like that. And anybody who's looking for, we're actually before we hang up with you tonight, we're gonna play your new song that's gonna be on the split that's coming out. I think you said it's coming out February 21st.
Yep, the day before Bayfire.
Okay. So we're gonna play that, but where can people find anything to do with anything to do with Voidrium?
Of course, we're on all social media platforms except for TikTok. I refuse to sign up on TikTok.
There you go.
We got Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. We're everywhere. The new split will be released also on every streaming platform, and we're also always open to booking requests, messages. We're always down for a good conversation.
Nice, man. And what's some of the bands you like? In that area that we all come from. Obviously, well, me and Ed, we played with different bands that are around now. There, even I noticed when we did this Swarm Fest, there was a lot of bands we weren't familiar with, which is actually cool about doing this podcast because I have to say, like guys like you guys, Vacuous Depths, we get to know you guys because when we were doing shows, for the last 20 years, there was no Voidriums and stuff like that. So, what are some of the bands now that people should check out who are listening to this show that you've played with in the Tampa Bay area? You can always shoot over to Jersey too for some bands, but what would you say in the Tampa area?
In the Tampa area, I'd definitely say you'll be talking to one of them soon. Tunnels of Set is a great one. Sacrilus is another great band from around here. Of course, you could always speak to going out to Orlando. Pontifex is also amazing. Clo, every band I put on Bay of Fire, honestly, and I know I sound like I'm just trying to be a salesman now, but I truly wanted to pick a lineup that really is like some of the best of what Florida has to offer as far as black metal is concerned. On the death metal side,
Go ahead.
On the death metal side, though, I got to say, I really do enjoy playing. I do really do enjoy playing live shows at Piss on Christ quite a bit.
There you go. Yeah. So like you said, next you're gonna tell us our new record's the best record. That's what they always say.
Oh no, I'm not doing
I'm
that.
only
I'm
fucking
not.
with you, man. I'm only fucking with you. That's what they always say when they come on. Like, oh, our new record. But no, man, I think it's cool, and it's definitely cool having you on. And you're obviously when you guys get the next record, you're always welcome to come on here. Yeah, because like I said, we weren't really familiar. We have talked about your band on the show before when we do flyers and stuff like that. We could read your logo. So that was one of the things that we were always able to pull your logo off a flyer because if Ed can't read it, he don't do it. Who did your logo?
I actually got it done on Fiverr, believe it or not. So I don't remember the guy's name, but I paid him about $25. I said, "Here's what I'm looking for. I want a black metal logo that's readable because." Again, there is a lot of bands' logos you really can't read anymore too well. So we wanted it to be like something you could actually read but look extreme at the same time.
Hey, man, and you guys got. I know you guys been busy. Like I said, I was looking at some of the stuff you've guys done in since 2024. I was like, damn, man, they were getting out there. You guys did hit Jersey, New York, Louisiana. You guys are going to Carolina, so you guys are definitely busting your ass. So it's cool to have you on here, man. We appreciate you coming on and hanging out and stuff.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having me. And just to say, there's gonna be a lot more announcements that coming for this year too soon. So stay tuned.
There you go. So he's a Devils fan too, so he's always allowed on here, Ed. Vincent's got the pass.
Oh yeah, the Devils faithful. Fuck the Rangers.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Now he has a spot on the show now. Actually, if you'd like to hang out for,
I'm a new job.
You'll start another podcast just dedicated to the Devils if you have me on here too much. It's just that's it. The music ain't gonna matter no more.
He's already got one.
I already got one, pal. I'll tell you about that later. I've been doing it for 3 years, man. Yeah, I've been doing it for 3 years. But yeah, man. Again, Vincent, cool to have you on here. Thanks for hanging out, man. We'll have you on here again and again. Bay of Fire, Saturday, February 22nd. 3800 North Nebraska Avenue, Tampa, Florida. 10 bands, all ages. Doors at 3 p.m. And so we can introduce the song we're going to play from your new split too that's coming out. And then after that, we're going to have Joe from Tunnels of Set hop on here, and we're going to talk to him for a while. So yeah, what are we going to be playing here?
Yeah, so this song is called Excrucior in Inferi, which translates roughly to the Punisher of the Underworld. It's a song about the Etruscan deity Orcus, who was basically a proto-figure of Pluto / Hades that was meant to be the more punishing aspect, which the Christians decided to rip off of for their version of Satan. It's the one we're opening the split with, and personally, it's maybe some bias here because I wrote it, but it's my favorite one on the upcoming split.
Nice. And you guys are going to work on a full length after this?
Yes, actually, we do have a full length plan, but I can't say much about that one yet.
There you go. So yeah, we have Vincent from Voidrium, man. We appreciate you hanging out on the Tampa Morgue. And what's the name of the song? I'm not even going to try it. What's the name of the song again? That's what we're going to be playing.
Excrucior in Inferi.
There you go. And this is Voidrium on the Tampa Morgue. Vincent, thanks a lot, man.
Grazie mille. You guys have a great morning. Have a great February, and hope to see you guys at Bay of Fire.
There you go. Vincent, we'll say goodbye to you in a minute. Everybody else, this is Voidrium. We'll be back with Tunnels of Set after this on the Tampa Morgue. And that was Voidrium. And thanks to Vince for hanging out with us from Voidrium, man. It was a good talk. They'll be playing at a festival that our next guest will also be playing at. And it's like a collection of the hockey fans tonight. You know, we have this guy's team. They could fuck off. But we got Joe Austin on from Tunnels of Set and also a Penguins fan. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing good, man. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. We're talking, you know, obviously Ed wanted to kill us during the intermission of while we're, you know, saying goodbye to Vincent.
This is the Tampa Morgue and Uncle Pucker show.
Yeah, we were talking some hockey. We were talking some hockey during the song. So, you know, and there's a group of us who are hockey guys.
Nobody's talking about the fucking Super Bowl tomorrow because it absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
Two of the worst fucking teams ever.
I just can't see Kansas City winning, and I can't see it. You know, I mean,
wow.
But you know,
I don't know. I've always been more of a hockey fan, anyways. Even growing up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because I've like, you know, so I've known Joe for over 20 years now, and Joe, you know, that's something we've always kind of bullshitted about was hockey and stuff like that. So you were born in Pittsburgh, but when did you head over to Florida?
I moved down to Florida in the summer of 2003.
Okay, so 2003. That makes sense because that's right. You know, so me and Joe go way back. I used to work at a place called Club Venom and book shows. I believe so. Is that where we met? So I absolutely don't know if it's through that or through the magazine because, you know, obviously we're going to get into some of your history and stuff like that. But it was Club Venom where we actually met?
I
can't remember.
I think so, but I think it was whenever they moved everything to the back of Venom.
So I don't know if Venom had two stages. I don't know if you remember. So there was two, if you remember there was a front stage and a backstage. The backstage of Venom, we used to call the murder room. Now, I don't know if you can still picture it, Joe, but there was like fake blood drippings off the wall and stuff like that. Like totally tasteless what we did. But we had painted it because the previous manager was murdered there and burnt in the back.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was beaten with like a crowbar or a pole, and they burnt the body in the back of the venue. This is before you know, we had booked shows there, and because this guy Matt I knew had opened up Venom there, and I used to book all the shows. So it was called the Murder Room in the back. That's where Cannibal Corpse shot the video for Decency Defied back there when we had it. So there was the venue in the front, the stage in the front with the strip bar, the strip pole, because it used to be a packaging liquor store. That's where I remember we had Deicide play there. Ed remembers this, like watching Glenn Benton play in front of a strip pole was kind of entertaining. You know, but so there was two stages there, and I believe, you know, me and you had met there. So like I said, we're going to talk about some of your history, which kind of dwells into this because, you know, when I first met you, you were doing Dry Spell. So this was about, you know, and, you know, so I mean, was that your first band actually in Florida?
That was the first band in Florida, yeah.
Okay, so that was your first band in Florida. So,
but I never got to play a show with them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I was trying to think back. I was like, I don't know if you had done a gig with them.
No, because like whenever we were just about to start it, that's whenever Eugene ended up killing himself.
Yeah, and Eugene, we're going to talk about him because I actually do, you know, whenever I think of it sucks because, and I'm sure you have the same effect, like whenever I do think of Eugene, I always get like this sad feeling over me. It's like never, and I love, and you know, so we'll talk about Eugene Sinkelson, who, you know, obviously it was in Dry Spell, and like you said, he had committed suicide. So we'll start out before then though, because we'll get to that. So you moved to Florida, like you said. So now music wise, you know, when did you start playing drums? Was drums your first instrument? Because you do bass and guitar too, right?
Yeah, and I play a little bit of piano.
Okay, so what was your first instrument that you actually played?
The first instrument was drums. I was like 13 or 14, and believe it or not, a friend of mine, he told me that there was a drum set down by a dumpster. So I ended up going down, picking it up. I ripped the wrap off of it, painted it, And then once I moved here, that's whenever I ended up getting a bigger, better drum set. And then, oh, wow.
Your first instrument was probably what, piano? I'm thinking, because we all had piano lessons as kids.
No. Drums were my first instrument.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And were you like around music? Like, was your parents like jamming out around you with records and shit growing up, or did you kind of find your way yourself into that?
Music was always around. Like my dad was like really big into like old country. My mom was into like oldies, 60s, 70s, 80s, like pop and rock and stuff like that. So, and then I ended up going to a show up there, and a buddy like one of my really good friends, he was the one that actually got me into playing drums.
Nice. What show was that? What was your first gig you actually attended?
Oh God, a Ninja Turtles concert.
There you go. At least you're honest. Bathory. No, at least you're honest, man. That was your first. What was your first record you ever owned?
Hell if I know. Shit, there were a lot. Oh. Dude, I couldn't even tell you what it was.
Hey, that's,
Couldn't even tell you.
Well, when did you start getting into like, obviously, more into the extreme music? Was it like Slayer? Like, what was your intro to that?
Intro to it was probably Midian or Cradle of Filth's Midian record, and then kind of went down that rabbit hole of the Swedish black metal and Norwegian.
Okay. And what you
Like
said?
I got into a lot of Dark Funeral.
Was that pretty much your favorite band back then?
Yeah, especially the Secrets of the Black Arts record.
Nice. So and like we said, you relocate to Tampa, 2003, and we talked about Eugene, which he was going underground at that time, right? From Dry Spell, which was St. Pete. It's interesting because I was thinking back on this today when I knew you were coming on. It was Dry Spell was a pretty raw satanic, a black metal band from St. Pete, and at that time period, 2003. I was trying to think back on that area itself, and I was like, man, I was thinking of some of the bands from that. You had like Black Witchery, right? You had Cult of Azazel, Acheron, Equinox. I'm trying to think of some of the bands at that time period, but I'm thinking about St. Pete, and I can't think of any really band from St. Pete at that time
that was doing black metal.
That was doing black metal. Because you had like Secret She Kept was out of Gainesville, right? There was a band called Cryptic Winds, I remember. There was. I'm trying to think of it from that area though. If you think of St. Pete, can you? I was trying to think of that this morning. I said, man, Dry Spell, but it's because I'll never forget Eugene coming up to the Venom Club in his leather jacket, like just just hanging up at the door with me almost all the time, and it's funny because he was a funny dude. Like he had a good sense of humor. I don't know if you remember. I always think of which makes no sense to any listener, but he used to do the elephant suicide. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Oh, I sure do.
Yeah. Whenever I think of him, I think of this man. So he formed Dry Spell in what 99, I believe it was. He formed Dry Spell. Do you know what was the original lineup? Because I was trying to think back because I don't know when Lane joined the band. When did Lane actually join with you guys? Was that pre you or?
That was Lane joined after Eugene passed away.
Okay, so Lane was after that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because Kevin and I were trying out like guitar players and singers and stuff like that, and nothing was sticking. It just wasn't the same.
Yeah, and because like I said, I was really thinking about today. I said, man, I remember Dry Spell. I remember how proud Eugene was of that band and stuff, and and I was like, man, I started thinking of all the bands because I used to play at that time period, 2001. I used to play in this band called Unspeakable Acts, and we had a bass player, William Reeders, who we used to call him Kill Him was also his nickname, and he played with Cursed Ruin. You remember them?
Yeah,
they were a Jacksonville band.
They played Venom whenever I went there one time.
Yeah, well, he was killing. You know, he was one of those black metal guys, but I think he used to travel down from Jacksonville because he was also in Qliphothic. I mean, damn, Qliphothic. You remember Ern Ed from Vomit Spawn was in Qliphothic.
Yep.
Uh, Josh
Burn, man.
and
Holy
Baby
shit.
Basher, a lot of Jacksonville bands. Josh Jetty, who was in Dead Center, I think he was also in Cursed Ruin. You know, I was going back to that time period because we were doing the River Rag magazine at that time, which was that metal print zine in the area. And
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of all those bands that are gone now from them. You know, but I always think of Dry Spell, and it's funny because, you know, Eugene was so proud of what you guys were doing. But obviously, you know, like you said, you know, eventually shit went bad, which is crazy because I don't know. I mean, with Eugene, I didn't. He had such a sense of humor you wouldn't expect it. But I have to be honest, and then you may remember, Joe, because you were around during that period. There was a time period where I remember a couple of days before everything happened, like I had spoken to Eugene, and he was. I can kind of tell he wasn't in the right place. I don't know, you know, like when was the last time you spoke to him?
I think the last time I spoke to him was the day right before he did it.
Yeah, I think I was like 2
And
days or 3 days.
everything was fine.
You had no.
But you know, like that's typically how it goes, you know, like some of the happiest people, they ended up doing that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was. I was shocked. I remember, like, I don't know. I can't remember if you had told. Like, I don't know who told me when it happened. I don't know if it was Mark who was running the club or I had talked to you. I just remember being in shock. And like I said, when I still think of Eugene, it bums me out, man. Like I'm just like, fuck, dude, because you know he was a good guy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and what did you? So I know they did. So that demo they did in 2003. You were on that, the 5-track demo.
No, I don't think that. No, I wasn't on that one. I was on the one after that.
The Under the Blackened Skies of War demo.
Yeah, that I was on that one.
You guys, he was really proud of that one because I remember because you guys did that cover of Freezing Moon from Mayhem, and he was really stoked
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So you know, but yeah, whenever I think of him, I do think of you too because I remember that time period. But you know, Eugene Sinkelson, aka Grand, 19 years old, man. So it's total bummer.
Yeah.
But you know, and I always think like, you know, Dry Spell. I actually was listening to some Dry Spell last night. I went and looked up some on the I was like, man, it's been a fucking
On YouTube.
And it wasn't YouTube. I was like an old band camp that you guys had up or something like that. It was some page. It was some old page, and you know, it was definitely raw. And you continued, right? You got after that, you actually continued for a while.
We continued for a couple years after that, but yeah, after like trying to find, you know, like another singer guitar player, it was damn near impossible around here.
And because you guys were real, that's one thing. You guys, I remember there was a certain vibe with you guys. Like you guys were really into it. Like Eugene was 100% into it. Like
Yep.
it was, you know, it was definitely his deal, man. And like you said, you guys did. And after that, what you guys did a split. The last release you did, right, was a 3-way split with a Horde
Yeah, it
from
was.
New Jersey and Death Crush from Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was also where Lane came in at too. I think he was on that.
And there was Nate too, right?
Nate was the original drummer.
Okay, so I can still see some of these guys, but man, I haven't seen Nate in years.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Nate. Terry was the original bass player. Also, he was like the super tall guy.
Oh
That
yeah.
for some reason he always used to put like palm trees in his hair.
Have you seen that dude? I have not seen Terry. I mean, I didn't even think of that name in years.
Dude, I have not seen him at all.
What did you just decided eventually just to so Dry Spell will be no more, right? You just decided to say, you know, just move on from it.
Yeah, Dry Spell's done. Like Kevin and I, we don't talk anymore due to personal reasons.
Well,
So
And then you hook up with, I mean, God, I haven't talked to Ian in a while. You hook up with Abatu, right? Which is
Yes, I do.
2005. Did you hook up with them?
I believe so. Yeah.
I remember we shot some. What was it? The Pegasus. We were shooting photos behind there, and I remember Ian was really like he was pumping that band. Like you guys, were you on the what was it? The Cast into Oblivion EP?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys did how? So what you guys were doing shows too? How many shows did you guys wind up doing?
Oh, God, dude, I don't know.
Well, I remember Ian was really pushing that band. Like that was like,
Oh yeah, he was pushing it pretty hard, and yeah, we were playing shit. We were playing the Mug probably like 3 times a month.
and Lane was in that band too, right? That's probably where I'm thinking of Lane. He was with
Yeah,
you guys.
that's where I met Lane at, and Ian and John, and yeah, like we would just mainly like we would be playing the Mug like 3 times a month whenever it was off of Fletcher.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, now Ian. Now I think he just does the graphic design, right? He's. When did he stop? He just stopped, right? He was doing about two.
Yeah, he was doing a Batu, then did something else, and then I guess he couldn't find anybody, so he was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do the graphic design thing.
You guys did a 2-song, right? The last thing you guys did, I think.
I believe so. I haven't even listened to that stuff in years.
Man, time. It's been a while, dude. I think 2005. That's like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I can hardly remember what I did last week. So
yeah, that was a long time ago. And you did Shadow Society and the Seventh Throne.
Yeah, Seventh Throne came first. That was after Lane and I split from Abatu. Him and I did Seventh Throne for a little while. Didn't really do much. And then, I got into Shadow Society. I want to say maybe like 5-6 years ago.
And then what was the project of Agony and Death?
Of Agony of Death, yep. That's my solo project that I do. I started that before Seventh Throne, and then just stopped, and then brought it back to life in I think 2020 or 2021, whenever I got a guitar again.
And now we'll jump ahead a little bit because now you're doing the reason we have you here tonight. Tunnels of Set. We just had Vincent on from Voidrium. You guys are doing a festival coming up, but tell us how you got involved with Tunnels.
Well, they were I think 2023 they were they just let go of their drummer, and I was just looking around on the like the Tampa Bay Metal Musicians Facebook group, and then then I saw that they needed a drummer, and I was like, you know what? I really need to get back into playing drums again. So I ended up getting a kit, started playing, and then I told them that I was ready to go. I had a rehearsal space ready for it, and yeah, that was pretty much it from there.
And they used to be what? Merciless Scum?
Yeah.
All right, so that's Chris and Nick from that, and the bass player is Matt from he was in Immortal Decay, Altar of Apocalypse.
Yeah, he was in Chaotica.
Chaotica, that's the band, right? That got in that bad accident. Ed,
Yeah.
you remember that accident in it was like 2000, maybe 2015. Chaotica. The drummer got killed, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they lost their drummer, and I think Wormreich lost 2 members in that.
Yeah, I think that was it was 2014 or 15. I want to say 15. So you get involved with, and I remember, I think I talked to you when you were kind of getting back into the drums, because I think we were going back and forth a little bit. You're like, man, I need to get back into this, and so that brings you where you are now. And so you guys, have you done any shows with this band yet? Besides, actually, you did do the show that we played, the Swarm Fest. Actually, I know you guys played the Friday of that. What was your first show with them?
My first show was April 26th of 24.
24, okay.
And that was with where Promethean Horde was headlining on that one.
Okay, and you guys
at the Mug, of course.
The Mug. And you guys, and you were you part of the split they did? They did a split with the Chicago band, Oscillesium.
I was in the band at the time whenever that was all talked about, but before I had joined, they hired a session drummer to record. So the drums on that on the 7th key, that's not me.
Okay. And are you recording with them now, right?
Yes.
So we're actually going to play something. I know you sent me that you did record on, because you guys have a split coming out in 2005 with Grave Gnosis out of St. Pete. Is that correct?
I think they're up in Tallahassee now.
Are they Tallahassee?
Yeah, they relocated. But yeah, we got a split coming out later this year with them, and we've also got our debut EP coming out like April, May.
How many tracks is on that?
There's gonna be 4 or 5 tracks on the EP, and then three tracks each on the split.
Nice. And obviously you guys are playing, which is one of the reasons that you're here today. You guys are playing Bay of Fire Saturday, February 22nd at Deviant Libation. And so this is what, your third show with them?
No, this is this will be like the 7th show.
7th show.
Yeah.
Nice. You guys are doing that. What you guys have some shit after that planned?
Yeah, we have something cooking for the summer. But after this, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break from playing shows to work on the EP.
Okay. And what's the exact full lineup now in the band?
Right now it's me, Nick, and Matt.
There you go. And what do you guys have, like Instagram? Like, what's your if anybody wants to check you guys out?
Tunnels of Set on Facebook, tunnelsofset.official on Instagram, tunnelsofset.bandcamp.com.
There you go. That's it.
And we're on all the streaming platforms too. So.
Oh man, is this pretty much what you're doing now? Do you have any other projects or is this pretty much where you're?
No, this is pretty much where what I'm doing now.
Yes, man. Nice. And it's good to see you back doing stuff again. Like I said, I remember when you were doing the dry spell thing, and it's been a long time, man. So it's good to see you still out in the area doing stuff. How much is the scene? Obviously, none of us are young anymore. And you've seen all the venues come and go through the Tampa Bay area and stuff, and just all the bands, right? Tons of bands. How would you say the scene is now compared to, say, 2003, 2004 when you first relocated out there to Tampa?
There's a lot of bands now in the area. It's definitely grown. It's a lot different now than how it used to be, for sure. But like once you find that there's one or two other bands that you really get along with, and you try to play shows with each other as much as possible.
What bands are you guys running? Like, what bands does Tunnels usually deal with?
Like right now we're really good friends with the guys in Sacrilus.
Yeah, Vincent was talking about them.
And also we're getting in pretty good with Pontifex out of Orlando.
Nice, man. Well, we're gonna play like you said. You guys got a split coming up. Do you guys have an exact date for that split or no?
No, it'll be later this year.
And is this the first time that you guys are actually, like, we're going to play the song here in a minute from the split? Is this the first time this song's been played anywhere?
Yes.
There you go. And
Al from I'm sure you remember Yeti.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Yeti actually.
Well, I work with him. I work with Al.
So what's up with when's the last time Yeti's done anything? Because of course, you know, Joe, you probably remember like Cacophony, Lothax, Pazuzu, those days, and the Yeti was on all those the played Brass Mug, I mean not the Brass
Oh yeah.
Mug, Venom, and all that a decent amount of times, man. What's up with Yeti? Are they just done now?
Well, Yeti turned into a Manifest.
And who's all in that band?
Basically everybody in Yeti.
Oh, it's the whole.
It's just they just went like a different direction. They ended up for their first EP they ended up going they ended up doing like more like it was like really Black and Death. And then for their full length that came out a couple years ago, it's like straight tech death. But now they're going back towards that that Black Death kind of mixture.
Yeah, I have not Yeti. It's been a long time, man.
But yeah, I work with Al now.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't seen Al probably in I want to say at least 15 years, maybe even longer.
Yeah, I told him I was actually talking to him about you yesterday, letting you telling him that you moved to Lithuania.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Talk about a move, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
That's a haul. I know. It's like a fucking 17-hour flight we just took to play that show at Swarmfest. You know,
damn.
It's a long flight, but yeah, man. Now, Joe, it's it's definitely cool talking to you. It's been like I said, me and you keep in touch on the side. And I wanted to
definitely.
Yeah, when I knew Vincent was coming on, I was like, let's get Joe on too, man. You know, so because I know you guys are playing the fest. And like I said, we're going to play your new song here too. And yeah, man, we'll definitely keep in touch, dude. And we'll when you guys get a new record out, we'll have you back on and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool, man. Sounds good.
Yeah, man. So tell us what we're about to hear. We're going to play the new Tunnels of Set track. That's going to be on the 7-inch coming out, or the split, I should say. I don't know what version.
This is going to be the Qliphothic Crown. I don't know too much about it because I'm not the one that writes the lyrics. I just play the drums. I just beat things.
There you go.
But yeah, it's probably our fastest and most aggressive song.
Where'd you guys record it
at? We actually self-recorded it.
I see. Pretty much everyone have studios in the band at their house.
Yeah, but I recorded the drums with Al's brother Kelly, who used to be a guitar player in Under Oath.
Okay.
And he used to play guitar in Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. And now he's running a studio down in St. Pete.
There you go. Well, we're going to play that track, man. And again, Joe, we appreciate you hanging out. We'll say goodbye to you after while the song's playing, actually. But again, man, what the name of the song is?
Qliphothic Crown.
There you go. Is there a name for the split yet or no?
No, there's no name for the split yet, and we're still working on a title for the EP too.
Cool, man. Yeah, so anybody who's, we'll definitely have you back on when you guys do the EP. And Joe, appreciate it again, man.
Yep.
We're gonna play some Tunnels
Thanks,
of
guys.
Set. Oh, definitely, man. And you'll be able to catch Tunnels of Set at, let me find it, at a festival coming up. What is the date again on that?
February 22nd.
That's right.
At the Bay of Fire Fest.
Bay of Fire Fest. 10 bands, all ages, doors at 3 p.m., $15 advance, 18 at the door. And Joe from Tunnels of Set, thanks again, man. And we're going to play some Tunnels of Set, and we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this track from Tunnels of Set. Thanks again, Joe.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
And that was Tunnels of Set. And thank you to Joe Austin for hanging out on the Tampa Morgue. And Ed, episode number 76 in the books.
Yep. Another one down.
Yeah, man. It was, it was kind of like a spur of the moment show because, we got Jeff Mantis coming on. I mean, me and you are fucking recording all week. Like, we're right back on this tomorrow. We got Brian from Satan coming on and Blitzkrieg this week. A lot of stuff. But I wanted to get this in here for the Bay of Fire Fest. And Vincent was great, man, from Voidrium. We had I talked to him a few weeks ago, and I definitely wanted to get this festival on here. So yeah, man. I mean, I think we're gonna it's gonna be a really fast ending to this show today because fucking we're right back at it tomorrow. I'm sure your wife is really happy about that. You got Alice Cooper tonight.
I do. So
some Alice Cooper. I saw some highlights from last night's show. I mean, you're gonna have a great time. It's your son's first Alice Cooper show, so
it is. So I'm sure. I don't know if he knows what he's expecting. He doesn't realize that it's a theatrical experience.
Well, you guys got good seats too, so it was cool to see that. And the people who won the tickets, they got killer seats too. I'm sure. So I don't know.
I think everybody, from that runs the whole, Ruth Eckerd Hall, from the Billheimer to the,
the person I deal with, Amanda, is awesome. She's, she makes sure everything's perfect.
I appreciate it because, getting to go, and then of course, we being able to promote the show, give tickets away, and then get to go see it. It's awesome, and I'm very appreciative for that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody who listens and gives us tickets and all that good stuff, I mean, but Ed, have a great time at Alice Cooper tonight.
I'm going to.
Then tomorrow you can run home and watch your Taylor Swift raise Kelsey up in the air with a Super Bowl trophy as they all win, and they give the game ball to the officials and all that good stuff.
That's right. They can all do the fucking, like they're at the circus blowing the fucking seals. Fuck you. Nope, not interested. Not watching that garbage. It sucks because this is probably the first one that I will not be vested in at all. Like, it's no secret my team never makes it, but I'm always, when Brady played, I was rooting for him because fuck the Chiefs, and last year I was rooting for. Yeah, I mean, San Francisco, you always root for anybody playing the Chiefs or the Patriots back in the day, or against the Eagles. So yeah, those are the or Steelers. Any of those teams, I'll root against.
Another Super Bowl will be gone before you know it, man. But
pretty much,
another show is gone. Another show, episode number 76 in the books. Another Tampa Morgue episode. And as we always tell you, as we told you in the beginning of the show, you can find a bunch of old episodes, 75 of them back, shitload of interviews. They're
there. Just pull it up and you'll see them all in chronological order.
The list is there. And,
yes, it is. We're not going through it again.
Yeah,
it's vast. It's many, and they're very, very well informed episodes. Every single one of them.
You'll learn some shit.
You will.
But
I learned shit.
Yeah, you'll learn some shit.
I lived a lot of this shit, and I learned shit. So there you go.
And again, everybody remember Bay of Fire Festival, Saturday, February 22nd, 2025 at Deviant Libation, 3800 North Nebraska Avenue, Tampa. Thanks to the guy Vince from Voidrium for coming on and Joe from Tunnels of Set to talk about the festival. Everybody else, we appreciate you listening. You can find us on where, Ed?
Spotify, Apple, YouTube, anywhere that there's a podcast, you'll find us. We're there.
Yeah, send us an email to thetampamorgue@gmail.com. And of course, you can hit us up on Instagram. And we'll be back this week with the one and only Jeff Mantis Dunn from Venom Inc., Empire of Evil, and that is going to be a killer episode. Talk about a legend. And everybody else, thanks for listening to the Tampa Morgue. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
This is King Fally from Deceased, and you just listened to another episode of the Tampa Morgue. Tune in next week and stay fucking dead.